for the 2.
I really did, but that's
the wrong
music.
one.
There you go.
Keep it in. We're doing it live.
Powered by Riverside.
Feinbaum can suck it and they have no proof.
Well, I don't think I need to say much more than that. It's the 4th&1 podcast live from Lancaster, Lidditz, and Kalamazoo, Michigan. Not actually. It's your favorite Michigan football podcast that never talks about Michigan, but we are all, for the first time in, I don't know, only 2 weeks, wearing Michigan gear. It's your boy, Fancy Trash Can, a.k.a. self-nickname, a.k.a. Admiral You Like That, sitting next to, as always, the man on the phone. If 2 generations ago Android was a person, it's Captain Boring Micaiah Schlicker.
Rude.
And
Androids
as always,
are superior.
If you can just move a little bit this way for me, Robert, it is my dude, Robert Bainbridge, not CFP Insider Robert. You will not find him online, so I just gave him your last name for you.
Also, you just said not CFP, so you're welcome.
Ah, darn it!
I win! That's what's up.
We can't win sometimes, unlike Michigan when they have their steals. It was a bye week for Michigan. They did steal their signs, however.
Yeah.
So
Purdue's going to get rocked. They stole all their signs.
Apparently, we are also stealing. Central Michigan is taking on the whole thing and stealing our signs. They had the dude who allegedly looked like Robert, or whatever the dude's name is, Stallion or whatever.
Connor Stallions.
Thank you.
Unless if you got his ID, there's no way.
I don't care so much about the situation. I haven't even learned the guy's actual name.
The headline is Central Michigan investigating man who looks like Connor Stallion.
Why is this an ESPN notification? What marketing intern thought this needs to be a thing?
Because it's clicks, man. Everyone is you either don't care about the situation or you just hate Michigan right now.
Clearly,
it's
very,
kind of
very
like a Kardashian.
Yeah, that's
title.
That's a
Michigan is the Kardashians.
Is the Kardashians of, except we're more sexy than they are. I did find another Michigan fan that works for the place that we work for. Mm-hmm. Just want to let you guys know that he's a PTA upstairs in Lebanon. So another one in Lebanon. I guess Lebanon County is the hotbed for Pennsylvania Michigan fans. As we dig into this week, I feel like I did nothing this weekend, and I don't remember us watching a single. Don't you hate it when you start your college football podcast and you forget all of the games that you watched this week? Is that just me? Just me?
And that's
Anybody?
just you.
That's just me. You. Okay. Well, something else that is not just me, and Robert, I think you put it best in our text thread about the top 10 that came out. We got the first CFP. Yeah, that actually is the correct one. CFP.
That is the correct one. Yep.
And I would like to read it verbatim, and we're just going to go ahead and put a sorry mom on top of this, because when I got this alert after smoking wings, I was smoking wings at the time, and I got this alert.
Not where I thought you were going with that.
Yeah, that's a euphemism. So Robert put in our text thread, quote, "The fact that they have Ohio State at number one means we have fucking mental instability fucktards running this shit." And
it's been a long week at work.
I don't even remember. I don't even remember that. That's great.
I can't even. There it is.
Sorry, Mom.
We add that just for all of you who have soft ears in the podcast, all 22 of you.
You did say effing mentally unstable F-tards running this shit.
It's been a long week.
Yeah.
So basically, all of the people, if we thought Michigan sign stealing was dumb, we being us three, the fact that Ohio State is ranked 1 when they are here's the real title of the podcast. Ohio State is the worst looking number 1 in the history of college football playoff.
How can you say that though?
Because Yeah, pretty dang easily.
I mean, it came out of my mouth. That's Big Ten football. Right, but here's the thing: they have the best wins.
Yeah.
Out of
Do they?
all the top 4 teams, they have the best wins.
I would say with 2 losses, Utah has better wins than Ohio State
think
does.
Florida State.
Florida State beat LSU, and granted, they're not getting as much respect
And
for
Duke.
that win as they
And
should.
Duke.
A very
Come on.
good Duke team. A
Come
very
on.
good Duke.
Don't
Listen,
come on me. Don't
Without
do that.
Riley Leonard, as soon as Riley Leonard went out, that game flipped.
Listen.
Florida State was getting smacked until Riley Leonard went out of that game.
if Ohio State was in the SEC, they would be a 5-4 team right now. That's how I know that they look the worst.
Okay, well, that's
Missouri
just
would have
asinine.
beat them 5 times.
I don't think so.
Kentucky probably would have beat them twice.
I mean, maybe, but Kentucky can't throw the football.
I think Ole Miss would
Neither
have
can
won
Penn
63 to 55. Yeah, it's Penn State and Notre Dame, a Notre Dame team who has utterly failed. Their best win is Penn State. That's
Okay.
their best win so far to me.
So,
I'll give them Notre Dame. Like, Notre Dame is a good win.
Robert's nicer
Ju-
than I am.
Just like,
but you won't
that
give
one,
them Notre
I-
Dame or
No, I
Penn
give
State.
them. No, Drew Aller threw more complete passes to Section 102, Seat 32, Row F. Penn State, they looked horrible against Ohio State. They looked horrible against Indiana. I have them on upset alert against Maryland this weekend on the road.
Speaking of upset alert, Maryland.
So
Not a good look
Okay,
losing
so
to
you have
Northwestern, guys.
you have Florida State, who
Not a good
probably
look.
would have lost to Duke at home if Riley Leonard doesn't re-injure that ankle. They do have the LSU win. Granted, probably the best win of any team so far. I will give you that. But then who else? Who else is Florida State beaten?
Who
No
else
one?
is Ohio State beaten?
Hey, Ohio State has more quality wins than Florida State does.
We don't even know if Notre Dame has an offense.
They beat Clemson.
Notre Dame doesn't have-
technically.
Notre-
Clemson doesn't look too hot. They
The
blew out
2-point win
Syracuse.
to Boston College.
The 2-point win to Boston College.
just don't-
However, a 66 to 30.
So okay, all right. So then, who would have a problem if in my top 10? My top 10 is Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, Oregon, Ohio State, Washington, Texas, Alabama, Air Force because America's unbeaten, and I have Ole Miss rounding out the top 10. So who has a problem with that?
Me. You should switch Oregon and Washington, and then I don't have a problem.
No. Okay, I understand head-to-head, 100%. But here's the deal. I give every team one mulligan on the year. You get one mulligan to get all your
Except for Penn
turnovers
State.
and all your
They
and
get
all your
two.
bad teams. Penn State doesn't get 2. Penn State's out of my top 10.
No, Robert gets what I'm laughing at. Penn State gets 2 because James Franklin's good for 2 losses.
Okay, all right, whatever.
James Franklin can't coach to save his life.
The best-looking teams to me are
James Franklin couldn't coach a shark to eat him.
couldn't. Okay, great.
Couldn't coach a starving shark to eat him.
I mean, it does say a lot that he was like, it makes you think when you line up in heavy set, but yet they're in a cover 2 and you take a shot. Then why didn't you have your quarterback check out of the play to a run?
Dude's only been there for 40 years.
I
would move Michigan back to like 4. I'm okay with Michigan at 4 or 5 just because
Their strength of schedule. Yeah.
right. That's the glaring thing for Michigan. Washington has a good strength of schedule. Oregon has a good strength of schedule. Both teams still look really good. 4, 5, and 6 could honestly be the 3 of them. What are you gonna do? I don't know how you don't have Georgia as 1 though, because even when Georgia looks their worst, they still would beat the
That's my
every
issue
team.
too. Yeah. Georgia's still looking way better than the other 3 combined. Well, not combined, but Michigan and Florida State are going to play Georgia the hardest. If the playoff was this week, those are the 2 teams that's going to play them. And I still think Michigan looks like the most complete team because they're the most football that I've watched. I do have to say that. but they look like the most complete team right now that could play against Georgia and possibly win.
So they threw up resumes of Georgia, Florida State, Michigan, or Ohio State, Georgia, and Michigan last night. The strength of schedule to this point, Michigan is 118, Georgia's 100, so it's not that far off. Michigan has, I think we all agree, has looked better. However, the toughest strength of schedule for the month of November, so the 4 remaining games, it's Michigan because they have Ohio State, Penn State, and Maryland.
Yeah.
I do want to say that, Robert, you know how you said that if Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan, they all win their home games, and so it's a tie, essentially, atop the Big Ten East, and then it goes to strength of record against the Big Ten West, or those teams. So besides Penn State playing Iowa, right, and Iowa only having the 2 losses now, Michigan, if you take out Purdue and you just insert Nebraska and Minnesota, it's not that far off from Ohio State's Wisconsin, who has the same record as Nebraska right now. I think they play, and Ohio State plays someone else. Like, the strength of the Big Ten West, Michigan's schedule is up and coming as the season moves on. So, I mean, I don't want it to come to a tie. I want Michigan's to beat the break. All I'm saying is it's not that far off from what Penn State and Ohio State are playing.
Well, I think that's because in the beginning of the season, we also were anticipating Wisconsin to only have 1 or 2 losses and not be kind of like the shaky show that they are at this point.
Yeah, and look a little better. So I think we're all in agreement that Georgia should be 1, and then what you do 2 through 5, 2 through 6 is kind of just up to your personal opinion.
Yeah. Ohio State also lost Myron Williams for the season, so.
I did see that. Travion Henderson has been looking good, but he can never stay healthy. They still don't stick with the running game long enough, in my opinion. I'll get into it because I'm reviewing Ohio State, Wisconsin, but something just doesn't look right there.
Which one? For who? I missed who we were talking about there. Ohio State?
Ohio State, yeah.
Yeah. And you say you have an issue with, you say they should be number 1.
Ohio State? No, I don't think. I think Georgia should be number 1.
You say something doesn't look right, and then when we go, they shouldn't be number 1, and we go, they don't look good. They don't pass the eye test, and you're like, oh, but something doesn't look right.
My big argument is with Robert. Saying Florida State should be above Ohio State. That's just simply asinine. No, they shouldn't.
Should be. Yes, they should.
No.
They look like the more complete team. There is something to the eye test. This podcast is built off of the eye test, and you're telling me that Ohio State passes the eye test before Florida State.
Heads and shoulders better than Florida State's. Heads and shoulders better than Florida State. Their defense.
If
38,
I almost called him Melvin Gordon.
38-24.
That's not the dude name.
If they played today, 38-24 Ohio State.
Marvin Harrison II. If Junior was not on the team, they would have no offense.
But he is on the team. Shocker.
That's not how the eye test. That's not how the eye test. If Allard or whatever the frick the guy's last name is, I'm stuck with his name, wasn't the quarterback, Penn State would be better. But
that's not true either.
Yes, they would be.
I don't think so, because if Drew Aller wasn't the quarterback,
you can't tell me if you take J.J. McCarthy and swap him out for Drew Aller, that team would not be ranked number 1 right now.
What argument are we making now?
I'm making the argument that you're a dumb
Penn State would be better
with dumb ideas and need to go sit on the toilet because of how poopy your ideas are.
Dude, you're asinine. Ohio State's defense eye test is better than Florida State's, and their offenses are comparable.
I've been more impressed with Florida State's football than Ohio State. Sorry, Robert,
Florida
I interrupted
State's
you.
Offense might be a little better, but it's not that much better. And Ohio State's defense is that much better than Florida State's. That's my only argument. I think Georgia should be 1.
I think it's valid. I think you're right about Georgia being number 1. I disagree with you, but that's the point of the podcast. First 2 out, Washington, Oregon, for the college football playoff. Rounding out the top 10, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma. Again, Alabama. How do you not have 2 losses? Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss Oklahoma that was a loss this week, right? They lost to Kansas.
Yeah.
Tough loss to Kansas. Missouri sitting there at 12, sneaking, hiding. The fakest team on the board here, Louisville at 13. Sorry, I meant to keep going. Personally, I think this is the best top 7 that we've seen, possibly top 6 that we've seen out of the college football and playoff in its history. I don't agree with the ranking. We've already been over that. But is there anybody there from a Washington-Oregon perspective? And we know that the CFP lines people up specifically for the week after. Like, hey, we want to line these guys up for their future games. So it's a bigger deal. They write the script. They actually do. Do you guys agree with 5 and 6? Washington-Oregon should be at 5 and 6?
I mean, the committee always values head-to-head, and I'm fine valuing head-to-head. It's just since they played in Seattle, when our game, you could say, arguably Oregon only lost because Dan Lanning's an idiot and pulled a James Franklin.
Then take the points at the half.
Take the points at the half, whatever, punt the football, however you want to have that argument. I just think that Oregon's just looked better since then. They have a better road win since then. Washington struggled. I would flip Oregon and Washington, but again, the committee values head-to-head, and last year it helped Michigan out when they valued head-to-head over Ohio State, right? So that's my only argument. This will play out down the stretch because at this point, I'm not sure. A 2-loss Pac-12 champion not getting in. 1 loss, it's going to be on the fence. And so I think Washington loses before they meet whoever in the Pac-12 championship game, and then it might be a 2-loss Pac-12 champion, but then Pac-12's out, just along with the Big 12.
Is it bad that I'm more interested in the Group of 5 playoff than I am
Not.
in
Absolutely
the regular
not.
playoff right now?
Air Force might make a
Air Force 8. No, they're taking on Army later for they're trying to finish out the the Commander's Cup, I think is what they call that, the Commander's Trophy actually.
Commander-in-Chief, yeah.
The Commander-in-Chief. Thank you. They should be the Commander-in-Chief Cup. Just letting people know that now. We can't make those changes yet. But we got Air Force at 17 in the AP, and I'm using the AP because Air Force is at 17 in the AP. Tulane's at 21 in the AP. James Madison is at 23, and I'm forgetting who my 5th of the Group of 5 is. Is it Robert? Micaiah texted this. You didn't respond to it. Is it sad that JMU is left out of the CFP poll?
Well, I get why they're not, but yes, and I'll go yes and no. Yeah, because they do deserve to be ranked, but I get why they're not, just because of the rule that they have, that you have to wait 2 years before you can. Just because with how the playoff is, it's
they applied for a waiver to skip that period because they were ready. No, they applied for it and got denied.
They did and got denied. Yeah.
Talk again. F the NCAA again, because
I know the conference was trying to work something again to have it so that they can at least do the conference championship.
Them and Jacksonville State have looked absolutely phenomenal, and those are the two most recent guys who have bumped up from FCS to FBS, and they've proven that it's possible. I mean, Coastal Carolina did for a little bit, but I don't know. I would love to see Tulane take on Air Force and James Madison take on another Group of 5 that we're missing, probably someone from the MAC. Shout out. Who was that last week? I don't remember who that was last week. It was Ohio and somebody. Hold on. Ohio and Miami. Shout out Miami. Love to see a Miami versus Tulane, Air Force versus JMU game. That would be really cool. But I don't know. I don't like it. Robert already said his piece, and he's smarter than I am, so I need to figure out how to transition to our next topic, which is recap last week. Sorry. There we go. Quick recap. I was 100% correct I called Miami to beat Ohio
Congratulations.
in my small game of the week. And yeah, that makes me happy, even though I went 1-2 in my picks. So I really, at the end of the day, I went 3-0 in my heart, and that's all that I care about.
Is USC the worst 2-loss team?
Yes, they shouldn't be ranked. I can answer that question.
Okay, all right.
You can't lose 2 games like you guys did back to back and pretend like you're still good. Like
The
Caleb,
most
Good.
go ahead.
I was
Robert.
just going to say the most underrated undefeated team is definitely Air Force, sitting there at 25.
I mean, they have a top 10 offense, but like a UConn defense.
Air Force? No, Air Force's defense is actually
USC.
pretty good. Oh, USC. Yeah. No. Yeah. USC for sure. Yeah. That was the answer I was going to get. That USC they shouldn't be ranked. 100%.
There's a lot of 2-loss teams that just shouldn't be ranked in my opinion. Yeah, Air Force. Fresno State is 7-1. There you go. I mean, did they already play them? Oh, they don't. That's going to be the championship game. That's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting Mountain West championship game. We always find the little guys at the end of the year. Micaiah, we talked about it for a hot second. Oklahoma, the loss to Kansas this week. I watched.
Yep.
I watched probably like 3 snaps of that game. Can you teach me about that game and what I missed?
Yeah, it was. So Kansas jumped out to a 17-7 lead. And then it was cold, and it was lightning, and it was a 2-hour delay or something close to it, like an hour delay. And then Oklahoma roared back with 14 straight points to take the lead, and you're like, all right, well, here goes Oklahoma. But then Kansas just kept chipping away. They ran the ball 41 times, 225 yards, 5.5 yards a carry. Jason Bean had 2 turnovers. That was kind of the only reason why Kansas really didn't run away with this. Oklahoma had it down to a 4th and 6. Last play of the game for Kansas. Couldn't get a stop, and they actually Kansas got it down all the way into territory, then scored the go-ahead touchdown to go up 38-33. Oklahoma got it all the way within Kansas territory, enough for a Hail Mary. However, it falls short. It was a fabulous, great game. I think that Oklahoma kind of fooled everyone with their win over Texas because it was a rival. They played their A-plus game, and Quinn Ewers turned the ball over 3 times. That's what people are forgetting about that game. Oklahoma played the perfect game, and Texas got a mulligan, the mulligan that I give out for their Oklahoma game. So Kansas finally stepped up, played big boy football, but this kind of opens what I've been seeing over the last couple of weeks with Oklahoma, which was problems on defense and them having to outscore opponents. Dylan Gabriel was only 14 of 19, 171 yards, no touchdowns, 1 interceptions. They did run the ball 55 times for 269, 4.9 yards a carry, so they were effective. Again, this is why I have Texas ranked over Oklahoma in my top 10. I think, and that's why Texas is also ranked over Oklahoma in the College Football Playoffs Committee top 10, because Texas has the better defense and Oklahoma a high-powered offense, but they have to play their A-plus game to beat these top-level teams.
How did I forget, it was the true freshman or redshirt freshman or true sophomore starter for Texas. I didn't see that result. Again, not preparing, really bite me in the butt right now.
He played a really good game. It was 35-6. Again, it was never really for Texas against BYU. Their defense kind of took over. He did enough to be decent, and he didn't turn the ball over. I'm pulling it up here now. He was 16 of 25 for 170, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And then they kind of just relied on that running game that ran 35 times for $184 and 5.3 yards a carry. So it'll be interesting to see, especially this week against Kansas State, in a team that can score and run the football, when Malik Murphy has to do more, can he? Or was this kind of performance just sort of what he is?
That's fair. Just for those of you keeping track, Central Michigan stole Northern Illinois signs and won last night, 37-31.
All right.
Yeah, just so people know.
Attaboy,
There's a
Jimmy.
dude on the team named Rocky Lombardi. Oh, he's been there for like forever. That's Northern
He used to
Illinois.
be
Is that
Michigan
Michigan's?
quarterback, wasn't
He used to
Yeah.
be Michigan State's quarterback, yeah?
He was bad.
That's why I know him. He hasn't been there forever. He's been at Michigan State. Not speaking of Michigan State, but speaking of the state of Oregon, Robert, this was one of your games that you previewed last week. Arizona, Oregon State, right? And it was an upset. Did you
Yep.
call that? Am I remembering correctly?
I said that there was a very good possibility that Arizona would beat Oregon State. Yes.
And you were right. Congratulations.
I
You want a
feel like
cookie?
Oregon State might be the fakest team that's in the top 25 right now,
You
other
know-
than USC.
Hold on for one moment. I gotta cut you off. Micaiah,
What's up?
this is you being a dum-dum again. Oh, all they needed, TJ will go away. He just needed a better offense, and he's gonna go Oregon State, and they're gonna be so good, and they're gonna be the dark horse. You gotta watch out. And then they show up, and they absolutely do what you need to do, which is go sit on the pot for the entire basically season. And I said, this is me saying, I told you so. You're welcome, Robert. Continue.
I mean, Arizona just plays really good at home. The stat lines for both teams are very close. Arizona threw for 275. Oregon State threw for 276. Oregon State ran for 131. Arizona ran for 88. The big thing, I believe, was Oregon
Fake-
State. Yeah,
The fake field goal at the end of the
yeah.
first half? Yeah.
yeah, that's just what changed the game for him. But there's just not. It was a late game. There was like nothing really else to really say about the game other than it was pretty much what was advertised, that Arizona, for whatever reason, is playing the Iowa State role and beating teams that they shouldn't be beating.
Well, I'm glad we recapped that as if it wasn't anything
Jed
important.
Fish has this kind of thing going in Arizona, you know?
It's weird
Yeah, it is weird to see
This-
Arizona good.
because Arizona has UCLA this weekend now
Yeah.
in Arizona, and it's, do you put them on upset alert? Because
That's perfect. That's perfectly reliable, perfectly reasonable. Sorry, you have UCLA, Colorado. Apparently, things were stolen. People want money.
yeah,
I don't know, Robert. What happened there? I see you have this game as a preview as well. So give me the other half of this on how UCLA, Colorado happened and how they looked last week.
well, if you liked defensive games, this was definitely the game for you, because Colorado could not stop the wind from hitting Shadur Sanders.
This is a great way to put
offensive
that.
line had so many holes.
Oh,
you
my
could have
goodness.
taken 2 Mack trucks and put them there. He's going to get killed out there.
It
But-
didn't even look like the guard and center on some of these
No,
plays
it was so
were blocking.
bad.
It was snapping the ball, and they were just standing up, and they were just taking their outside linebacker, putting him at nose tackle, swim move, hitting Shadur right in the face.
And I mean, you got to give Colorado credit for keeping the game as close as what it was. But
4 turnovers first half.
yeah, I mean, UCLA 218 on the ground, great running day, threw for 269. That's a good passing day for most teams.
Yeah.
Colorado only ran for 25 yards.
Yeah.
That's not going to get it done.
And most of that was Shadur
Well,
Sanders.
And that's been their problem all season. No, it's just been they have no
Shadur
running
ran
game.
for minus 20.
No, but all the positive yards that he got, I mean, he was sacked, 9 times? But, I mean,
Yeah.
he got out a few times for like 20 yards.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, that should have been a whole
Negative.
lot worse, yeah.
Yeah. And Travis Hunter had 2 picks. Looked way better on defense than he has recently. Offensively, he only had like 3 catches for 7 yards, so he needs to stick to
Yikes.
being a corner. But
Slow day at the office, huh?
That first pick he had, oh my goodness, was that amazing.
That
it
was
looked
the
like
game.
a glitch in Madden.
That game, he looked like a number one corner that's like, okay, this guy's a game changer.
Right, yep. Yeah. Yeah, they just got to stop playing him so many snaps on offense.
Yeah. It's not going to happen.
No, it's not.
Because Prime's going to Prime. Robert, we're just going to stick with you because you picked all Pac-12. So Robert's a Pac-12 fanboy.
Enough.
I don't know how you did. We're going to stick. We talked about it a little bit already. USC, Cal. We got Oregon State pretty fake. Does this make USC fake? Does this get lost to Cal?
I mean, I don't even know if USC was ever real. Because, I mean, I'm scouring the country right now trying to find where this USC defense is because they have not showed up to a single game this season. You have 49 points to Cal in a game you should have lost because Cal went for 2. And it was just a bad play and a bad pass.
It really speaks to the culture because the Oklahoma players are saying that Brent Venables has installed this culture of, we want to have fun, but we're going to work. And then our fun comes after when we win on Sunday. And Lincoln was Saturday, sorry. And Lincoln was more about, we're going to have fun and we're going to win doing it. So I just think that this is bleeding over to whatever program he goes to, and the mindset of defense, it doesn't really matter because our offense is going to score 50 as long as we stop them. But now that's not even good enough because they're giving up 50 a game. And what concerns me the most is the missed tackles. It's a 2-yard bubble screen that should be shut down 2nd and 8. Slip a tackle, first down, now it's 1st and 10, and now you're like, wait a minute, it should be 2nd and 8, first down. They're running right up the middle. Bear Alexander, Georgia transfer, misses a tackle, goes for 25. What are we doing? Tackle the guy in front of you, and you're probably winning these games by 20-plus points.
But then they also gave up, 235 yards on the ground.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Touchdowns.
They're terrible at tackling.
You can't win that game.
No.
Great game for Caleb Williams, 369 through the air, 2 touchdowns. Great. Marshawn Lloyd, 115 on the ground, 2 touchdowns. Great. Show me the defense.
Yeah. And it's a shame because, I mean, yes, Caleb Williams did have a very, very bad game against Notre Dame, and then his game against Utah wasn't great either. I'll give you that. But they're ruining the defense is ruining his chance to be back-to-back Heisman because he's putting up numbers to at least be in the conversation.
If he continues to put up great numbers, okay, but USC finishes outside the top 25. Michael Penix kind of cools down. Have we ever had a Heisman winner outside the top 25?
I don't think he would win it just because JJ's betting favorite right now. And if they're only lost to Ohio State, Marvin Harrison's going to be in that conversation too, right? So, but no, I don't think we have. To answer your question, that would be very entertaining if JJ falls off a cliff, Marvin Harrison gets injured, and Michael Penix, starts sucking, and Bo Nix starts sucking. Then what do you do, right?
Yeah.
Let's Makai, we talked about it a little bit. We're going to move on here. Sorry, guys. We're on a time commitment. Ohio State, Wisconsin.
Ohio State, Wisconsin, again, I didn't put them at number 1. I think they're better than Florida State because of the defense. That's my only argument there that everyone heard about. Kyle McCord just doesn't look right. Travion Henderson, 24 carries, 162 yards, 6.8 yards a carry. But every time I had this on the small TV as I'm watching UCLA and Colorado, and I'm like, all right, so Ohio State up 17-10. This game's over. Ohio State's defense is dominating Wisconsin. Wisconsin had a true freshman or a redshirt freshman quarterback. He didn't play half bad, QBR of 61.7. But I'm like, okay, this game over. And then I look up midway through the 4th quarter, and it's still 17-10. Kyle McCord ends up 17 of 26, 226, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, QBR 55.9. And here's the thing, he was sacked 7 times, or he had 7 rushes, but he was sacked a bunch for negative 20 yards. You just didn't see that with Justin Field and CJ Stroud. Them just getting sacked and turning the ball over this much. Their offense just still doesn't look right. Defense is exceptional, at least via the competition they've played. Something just doesn't feel right to me with Ohio State. Not saying they won't beat Michigan. Not saying they won't win the national championship. It just, looking at them right now, I'm just like, something just feels off with them. However, it's a good win on the road in Camp Randall against a Wisconsin team that I think the game would have been closer had they had Tanner Mordecai, but they didn't. Braylon Allen fumbled the ball twice. You just can't do that.
You know, I was looking at our superlatives. Dear Lord. Most overhyped player, Kyle McCord. Someone who I think is underperforming from how we thought about them pre-week 1. Georgia, Florida. Georgia decided to show up even with Brock Bowers out. Makai, again, I think this is one of those games that I only was able to watch like 3 snaps of.
Georgia, Florida. Yeah, sorry. Georgia, Florida.
Zoned out there, huh?
I a little bit. I'm really impressed with Carson Beck. I thought there would be a step back and it would be close. This game wasn't even close from the get-go. Carson Beck, 19 of 28, 315, 2 touchdowns, QBR of 87.8. Now, he ran the ball 38 times for 171, 4.5 yards a carry. Ladd McConkey, whitest name of all time. Had 6 receptions for $135 and a touchdown.
That's pretty racist, but
This is why they're my number 1 team. It doesn't matter right now who you take out, who you plug in. I still think they get got at some point in November just because you can't go undefeated 3 years in a row or only 1 loss in a 3-year span. I just think that they get got sometime in November. It's a close game, whatever. It's a game you don't see coming. Maybe this week to Missouri. However, I doubt it. But then every time they're challenged, their defense just steps up and punches people in the mouth. And it was an easy 43-20 win. They are the number 1 team.
Well, I'm glad you think that. You finally joined the crew from the beginning of the podcast. I have some weird head cold thing. We're moving on to looking at this week's game. We got some really good ranked matchups here. We're going to go to the 3 that Micaiah and Robert think you guys should watch for the 6 total. And then we'll look at a few other ones before I tell you my game of the week, and then we hit picks. So, Micaiah, let's start off with a little bit smaller one. Again, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Well, we touched on most of these a little bit earlier. But it's the finish for the Commanders, what I am calling the Commanders Cup, the Commander-in-Chief Trophy. Army, Air Force, I think it's cute you put here. Tell me why I should think it's cute.
Yeah, I just, it's America versus America. You don't get a lot of the academy schools 8-0 late into the season. You just don't. With how much they run the triple option, and they're usually undersized just because of the type of students they do get. They're doing more work than anyone. They're running the ball for over 300 yards a game. They're throwing the ball a little bit too, but not. Their quarterback has 651 yards passing total on the season, 6 touchdowns, no interceptions. He has only missed 12 passes. That's like 2 games in an air raid. Their defense is awesome. They also played their last game in a blizzard, which was awesome.
That was pretty dope.
If you just want to see some feel good, what I call it is when I watch an academy school, feel good football, because this is not the end for these kids. They're going to win, lose,
like
it doesn't
watching
matter.
A deaf school.
They're going to wake up in the morning and they're going to go to class and protect this country, protect the red, white, and blue. So it's awesome when an academy school is ranked 8-0, unbeaten, at home in cold, snowy Colorado. I think it's just going to be awesome. So 2:30, CBS Sports Network.
Oh, 2:30 game. None of Robert games are 2:30 games. Robert, which one should we start with?
Let's start with Notre Dame Clemson.
Oh, by the way, Air Force beats Army, if anyone cared.
Notre Dame and Clemson. It should be a good game. It should be I don't think it's going to be a close game. I think Notre Dame kind of just runs away with the game itself. But I think we're going to see if Clemson has any backbone, if Clemson has any sort of heart. Dabo is getting questioned why they should be paying him what he's being paid for being 4-4. I am interested to see if Clemson's defense can kind of do anything against Notre Dame's offense. But I just think Notre Dame kind of runs away with this game. But it's always nice to see them run down the hill with Howard's Rock. So
this is the one game that I don't care about that I care about the most. Kind of like the Texas.
Who do you
KSU
think?
game.
You said Notre Dame wins. I actually think Clemson actually wins.
No, I think Notre Dame takes this one.
Shout out to the dog appearance.
Is it my turn?
Okay. Yeah, it's your turn. Wow.
All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Texas.
I see this segment has been perfect for the podcast. This has been great, guys.
Yeah. Worst
You guys really bring the energy and what this podcast needs. At least Robert brings a dog when he talks about it. Okay?
All right. Well,
coming, all right.
All right. Yeah. You just relax. You just calm down there, Mister Do Nothing. Prep very little. Make everyone else do all of his work. Okay. The Texas Longhorns are hosting the Kansas State Wildcats at noon on Fox, and I think it's going to be an awesome game. Kansas State, 2 early losses, one recently to Oklahoma State, who all of a sudden has this resurgence with only 1 loss. The Big 12 standings, whole bunch of teams with only 1 conference loss. Here's the top of the Big 12 standings. Oklahoma, Iowa State, Oklahoma State. Those are the top 3. Next, Texas and Kansas State. They are all 4-1. Kansas State is 6-2 overall, and then Kansas is sitting there at 3-2. Texas is without Quinn Ewers. Kansas State finally running the ball a little bit. Will Howard needs to stop turning the ball over. He's got 7 INTs on the year. I think this is a very interesting, very sort of high-scoring affair. And Texas is favored by 4. I don't know if I agree with that. This is not. I mean, this is in my pick section, but for another reason, I just can't go against that Texas defense because every time I've doubted it, it has shown up. So I'm going to pick Texas to win, but it is in my pick section later.
Okay. Robert, is PSU Maryland in your pick section later?
No.
Do you want to talk about them? Yeah, there we go.
I
got
think,
there.
So, Penn State and Maryland, I think is going to be a very interesting matchup just because Penn State was asleep last week.
Mm-hmm.
Cold stone asleep.
Yep.
Against an awful Indiana team. Now they got to go to Maryland a week before they play home against Michigan. I am putting Penn State on upset alert. Penn State's going up against a quarterback that they haven't really gone up against, like a true running quarterback with Talia. I mean, yeah, Maryland's coming off of losing to Northwestern, which is very hard to come back from just because it's Northwestern.
Thank you.
But Penn State just hasn't shown me anything yet to really say, hey, I'm a top team and I deserve to be a top team. So, upset alert, 3:30.
Hot take.
Do they do it?
Does Maryland win?
Yeah. Does Maryland pull off the upset? Put your money where your mouth is.
No, it's Maryland. Why would I want to put them on upset alert? But it's Maryland, and Maryland is going to find a way to lose because Drew Aller in the fourth quarter is going to become Joe Montana and throw just a beautiful 63-yard pass to the only wide receiver that they have that isn't a tight end.
Well,
right.
that was
Like
almost
they
epic.
did against Indiana.
Call an upset. Meanwhile,
Yeah.
I'm not going to call an upset here either. Alabama and LSU. So this
So
is
this game's gonna be like 70 to like 140.
dude. It might. LSU's defense. Whose defense is worse, USC's or LSU's?
USC's,
USC
because at least LSU shows up when it needs to.
Does it though?
Full field.
I mean, sometimes it does. Jalen Milroe is coming along. People counted Bama out, including us on this podcast, and Bama just keeps on chugging. They are playing awesome defense. Jalen Milroe and Trey Burton are really finding some chemistry. Or his name's not Trey Burton.
LeVar Burton.
Gerard Burton, I think his name is. Anyway, they are developing awesome chemistry. Jermaine Burton.
Wow, we're spending a lot of time on names, guys.
We are. But Alabama last week, again, against Tennessee. Got down early, 20-3, and then just flipped the switch, and it was over for Tennessee. LSU's defense has been better in the past couple weeks since what would have been a 2-point win, 3-point win to Missouri. Then they held Auburn to 18 points. They don't got a quarterback. They held Army to 0 points. I thought that was actually going to be kind of tough for them, but it wasn't. I think that this is a high-scoring affair, but I think it's Nick Saban at home getting revenge. I wanted to do something with the over-under, and I couldn't just because I don't know just how good this Bama defense is. I think they could hold LSU to 21 points and then score 20 themselves or 30 themselves, and that wouldn't be the over-under of 60. But then I could see it going the other way, it being a 35-32 type game. So this is in my picks later, but I'm going to tease it a little bit. Alabama at home, revenge factor. Jalen Milroe coming along, and they have the better defense. So just a little tease there, which way I'm leaning.
Robert, you have another game. We already talked about it. I know I've said that like 15 times on this podcast. It's another game that we don't care about, but it's on your list anyway. Give me UCLA, Arizona.
10:30 p.m. Stay up and
there
watch
it
this
is.
one. Watch this one. Arizona at home. I think they're beating UCLA.
There it is.
When you look at Arizona's last 5 games, this is actually kind of really interesting. Beat Stanford by 1. Okay, fantastic. They lost to Washington by 7. So they lost by a touchdown. Lost to USC by 2 in triple overtime. Beat Washington State handily. And then they upset Oregon State. They very well could be 7-1. This Arizona very well could be just the team that turns the tables for everything. I think they beat UCLA. UCLA's offense didn't really look that impressive. Their defense looks good, but they're going into Arizona. Bearcat country, whatever they say, Wildcat country, whatever they do.
Wildcats, not Bearcats.
Yeah, it's Arizona. It's the same thing, But I think Arizona gets the upper hand on UCLA.
Oh, Bobby Knight just died.
Oh,
That's kind
wow.
of a big deal.
Way
Yeah.
to bring the house
It
down.
literally just came across. 83 years old, dies at his home in Bloomington. Family says
good.
Bob Knight just died. Yeah, that is very sad.
Well, hopefully it was peaceful.
I didn't
Shout
know
out.
Oklahoma
T's-
State was ranked, and so
T's
that's
and P's.
bedlam this weekend.
Wait. Oklahoma State is ranked? Yes,
Yeah,
they are.
22.
22nd. Also happens to be the most expensive game.
Yes,
That's
sir.
what I was looking at. What's the
200.
cheapest?
281. Go ahead.
Tulsa versus Charlotte.
Charlotte,
$2.
$2. There it is.
But here's a shout out. We need to get ourselves down to northern Mississippi, to Starksville, where we can get a ticket for as low as $3 to watch Kentucky at Mississippi State.
All right.
SEC football for $3. That's
real
almost worth the plane ticket and the rental car.
real quick, if we could, I just want, unless if these are part of your picks in terms of money line or whatever,
No, I'm glad you're taking over here.
I just want the ranked on rank matchup, I want us all to pick winners. Okay, so
Michigan versus Purdue. Wait.
Michigan versus no. Okay, so Bedlam, Oklahoma State. Who we got? Unless if it's part of your picks.
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma.
I'm going Oklahoma State. Missouri at number 2 Georgia.
Georgia.
Okay, I agree with Georgia. Can't get past that. Number 5 Washington at 20 USC. Maybe high scoring game of the year.
Washington by 20.
USC by a field goal.
Oh, wow. I'm going to roll with the better defense in this case and pick Washington. And then this is part of my picks. LSU at Alabama, so I won't make a pick here.
Alabama by 3.
Alabama
No.
by
Upset. Other way around. LSU by 3.
Okay.
Alabama
You
by
know-
a touchdown.
You know what I would love? If it was Alabama 3-2. We get another 2007. I would absolutely love that.
That would be awesome.
You missed Texas, Kansas State.
Oh, yes, I did. Texas, Kansas, they are part of my picks as well. However, I'm doing something with the over-under, so
It's Texas. It doesn't matter.
I am going to take Texas better defense. See a theme here for me, better defense all around.
I just want to throw this out there before I give you my smallest game of the week, my small game of the week, and also it will lead into my pick because it's also part of my pick. Appalachian State, Marshall at Appalachian State in Boone, North Carolina. $100 is the cheapest ticket.
For the scenery.
For middle table. They're in the American? No, they're in
That's moonshine country, right?
See, that is moonshine country. I just wanted to shout that out. Okay, guys, we had 2 late games on last night. Not talking about either of those. Not talking about Toledo beating Buff or the sign-stealing Central Michigan beating Illinois, Northern Illinois. I'm talking about somehow, we're talking about Wednesday night action here. Somehow a ticket is more expensive in Akron than in Bowling Green, Ohio to see two teams. It's the battle for the last place in the MAC. It is Kent State taking on Akron. Akron has over under for wins on the season is 2.5. Dr. Kevin Kern took the under. He's gonna be right about this. I'm also gonna lead. I'm gonna lead this into my pick segment. You're welcome. Of course, I have to log back in. I was on a roll. The over under for the game. I'll pull it up here since that's going to be faster here. 38.5?
Yeah.
I think I got it at 35. Possibly. I'm taking the over because I'm feeling like these two teams might be able to score on each other. It's in Akron. It is tonight. So you guys will figure this. You guys will know the answer before this comes out. So you'll have to let me know how I did in the comments.
Who
down
is
below,
Akron playing again? Who'd you say? I wasn't listening because as soon as
State.
Oh, Kent State.
It's the battle for Cleveland.
It's the battle for the Dr. Kevin Kearns.
I was gonna.
I mean, he went to both places. He went to both places.
Did he?
Well, he teaches at one and got a degree from Kent State.
That's right.
I want to say. Yeah.
No, I think we're wrong.
He'll
about
correct
that.
us if I'm wrong. Don't worry.
That's totally fine. Over 38.5 was it? I took the over. We'll see. I'll probably
over
be wrong.
38.5. Wow, that's crazy. Okay.
I did get a nice little teaser down to 32.5, which I'm definitely going to hit. So
Nice. There you go.
let's go with Robert next, Micaiah.
Got to start in typical fashion. We got to start with a good old Thursday night game, you know?
Hey, I took the Wednesday. I can't hate.
Yeah.
Dude, you're 2 weeks in a row. It's not hitting, so you need to switch it up, man.
I'm hitting tomorrow night.
All right, who you hitting?
Troy,
Okay.
South Alabama. Game means absolutely nothing for nobody. However,
That's not true.
Troy's 6-2. South Alabama's 4-4. I mean,
Oh, I thought South Alabama was at the top of the. conference.
No.
That's on me.
You're messing up the energy,
Yeah.
bud.
I'm sorry.
You know.
Troy, no, Troy, this is to keep them in the West or whatever their part of the conference is, okay?
Yeah, Troy's a little better. Troy -4. Give me that -4. I like that. I like Troy to win by more than 4.
I can't
Probably
hate on that.
7, maybe 10.
Watch them somehow get a half a point and win by 3.5.
I will be jacked.
Alrighty, you know what's sad, ladies and gentlemen? It's the fact that Bedlam, Oklahoma State, this is the last round for some time, at least in the near future. SEC's dumb, Big 12's dumb. Big 12 is angry at Oklahoma. Oklahoma's angry at Oklahoma State because why wouldn't you be? Oklahoma State has the biggest scoreboard I have ever seen and the brightest scoreboard I have ever seen. This game is not at night, but it's at 3:30. Guess what? It's the first weekend in November. Daylight savings time is happening shortly thereafter. It's going to be dark at the end of the game. That scoreboard going to be blinding Oklahoma State players. Mike Gundy is not good in this series. He is 3-15 against Oklahoma and
me. I'm a man. I'm 40.
0-3 as a player. He's not good, but guess what? He saves the best for last. Ollie Gordon leads the nation in rushing, and he is slowly working his way onto the stage in New York. You're giving me 5.5 against that rush defense of Oklahoma that just gave up 200-plus yards to Kansas on the road. You're going on the road again to Stillwater. Give me the Pokes plus 5.5. And I even take them to win outright.
Because it's garbage.
How's that for energy, ladies and gentlemen?
I absolutely love that. And
Thank
I'm going
you.
to bring us back down with a game we've already talked about and somebody who's already burned me. Listen, the early game burned me. South Alabama, speaking of, they burned me last week. I was off by the over-under by 2.5 points. I'm taking another over-under. This time I'm taking the over, which I got another teaser for even better, 25.5. I'm still taking the over at 31.5 for Air Force at Army. I don't know why. I'm thinking some balls will be flying through the air because it's Air Force. Maybe they'll be inspired by the Israeli Air Force and decide to drop some bombs.
Stop it.
So let's hope for over 31.5 for that game. Robert, you're silent. That scares me.
I'm only silent because we just need a moment of silence for Dabo Swinney.
Oh, here we go.
Because Notre Dame is coming in to Memorial Stadium in Clemson, South Carolina as a 3-point favorite. Only 3. Notre Dame coming in. Gonna put him into an early retirement. Clemson's going 4-5. Give me the 3 points because they're winning by 2 touchdowns because Clemson, play the sound bit for me, they're garbage.
Because it's garbage.
There it is. All right. Here's the deal. Quinn Ewers is out. And that defense is awesome. And Kansas State can run the ball. Malik Murphy is going to show the world that he's just as good as Quinn Ewers, combination arm and leg. Maybe not sitting in that pocket, but he can get out and move. I think Sark has another week of preparation with Malik Murphy. I think that Kansas State is going to be able to kind of do what they want on Texas. Outside of this last 6-point outing that they held BYU, they're allowing over 24 points a game to their opponents. I think Kansas State gets that. I think Kansas State's defense gives up more to Malik Murphy, Sark, and that high-flying Texas offense. You're telling me the over-under is only 49? No, sir. We are going way over. Hammer it, ladies and gentlemen. Over 49.5.
Yeah, I think that's probably the smartest bet that any one of us has made so far. And for those of you watching, I give to you this beautiful... Robert, your Pittsburgh accent made me think about this. Let's see if I can get it to play.
Yeah, without sound, but yeah.
You don't have sound?
No.
That's so sad!
Still first
No!
down.
First down.
Still first down.
Still first down. Guys, you just got to
First
Google. You got to Google first down, DAHN, Pat
Yeah.
McAfee, and click
Love
on the
it.
first link that shows up. You're welcome. I have blessed you. Shout out to John Sandville for presenting that. And shout out to me for picking just an absolute gem. Guys, it's the battle. This is 4-9-0. It's so crucial for this team to absolutely say, FU NCAA, we're the best, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's -5.5. JMU, the Dogs, the Royals, down in Harrisonburg, taking on a death. A pretty okay, actually, all things considered, Georgia State team. If they want to win I'm forgetting what conference they're in. I'm trying to pull it up.
Sun
I'm
Belt.
pretty sure it's the Fun Belt. Yeah. Listen, Georgia State, 2 games back in their division. It's going to be a fun game. I think JMU's for real. I think they're for real. I think this is a touchdown game. JMU by 7. You're welcome. That's Kansas State over 38.5. That's Kent State, Akron over 38.5. Army Air Force over 31.5. And JMU -5.5. Guys, I've had 2 really bad weeks. I'm currently under 500, and that makes me sad.
Welcome
What
to my
doesn't make me
season.
sad is listening to your guys' picks. Micaiah, what do you got for me?
Oh, I thought I was going last. All right. But
Oh, wait. No, I'm sorry. I thought Robert already went last. No, Robert, go. We want
Okay.
Micaiah to go last.
You want it, you got it. 7:30 p.m. It's time for the over/under. Michigan, the sign stealers that we are. We are going to
back.
go not against Purdue, but against Purdue. The over/under 50.5. It could be 200.5. It don't matter. JJ throwing for $180 in the first half, if not more. Give me the over because Michigan is making a statement. I hope everyone out there has a sign up that says, "Here's your sign."
I absolutely love that pick.
I'd like to
You're-
take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody. The double champ does what the he wants.
If Michigan wins the Big Ten championship game, we're opening with that soundbite and playing it every 15 seconds on repeat until people leave the podcast. Here's the deal. Here's who might be playing that soundbite on repeat after Saturday, and that's Nicky Saban. People told me he was washed. A member of this podcast said the dynasty is over. Saban up and get on out of here. That would be not CFP insider Roberto. He said that earlier this year after the Texas loss. What have they done?
White man!
They have just dominated everyone in their wake since that loss to Texas at home. You're telling me they are at home at night against their rival, who they lost to last year, with the better defense, a quarterback who doesn't turn the ball over, a running game that's coming along, and Jermaine, Troy, whoever else I said, Jerome Baker, catching, passing, Burton, whatever. Who cares? He's throwing, he's catching. Alabama money line, ladies and gentlemen, winning outright.
Can't even take them plus the points. But that's how I like to end this on this Michigan football podcast. Again, we barely
The
talked
signs
about
are
them.
telling me Alabama wins. Wash your hands,
see.
you filthy animals. We'll see you next week. Enjoy your college football Saturday.